All right, everybody, what's going on, man? Welcome to today's edition of Swag Talk Show. We cover the swag inside and out. Of course, I'm your tour guide, C. Wells, coming at you. And, man, it's second time, hopefully the charm, man. I sat down and recorded this whole thing, and my audio was busted. So I'm going to get back in the lab and try to bring y'all some more heat. So we're going to see if we can get this to work this time. But that's what you do when you got to deliver the goods, man. You got to come through. So, man, with that being said, man, how y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's go ahead and, pop this thing off. As y'all can see from the little scroll on the screen, Celebration Bowl preview, TC Taylor hired as JSU head football coach, UAPB coach and finalist. We're going to talk about all that. And we're going to start with the Celebration Bowl because, I feel like this game has been on the back seat. Because, all of Coach Prime leaving and, coach's search and, who's staying and who's leaving and, all of that. And a lot of people not even talking about the game. And I think this is going to be a hell of a game, man. This is for the undisputed Black National Championship, winner take all. Ain't no outside people, would have claim to nothing, winner take all, and, you got 9-2. North Carolina Central against 12-0 Jackson State. So, it's everybody's made it through, and we're gonna play this last game, man. 11 o'clock ABC. Check it out. So, before we do all of that, man, y'all can check out the socials on the screen. Facebook is Swag Talk, Instagram Swag Talk, Twitter Swag Talk 76. Like the videos, share them, man. Hit the notification bell because I'm about to bring back my Chopping It Up series. So, you definitely don't want to miss that. Subscribe, man. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Man, we're trying to get to that 800. So, what I'm saying, man, subscription will help a lot. Like the videos, man. Hit that like button. Hit it. And, man, all the other stuff that you do when people ask you to do it on YouTube, man, just go ahead and make it all happen. So, let's go ahead and get started, man. We're going to start this thing off with the Celebration Bowl. Like I said, Jackson State versus North Carolina Central, Tigers versus Eagles, 11 a.m. Saturday, December 17th, ABC. So make sure y'all check this out, man. ATL, we here. Started, it always start in the A and it end in the A. So let's get it, man. So we're going to go team by team, but I'm going to start with North Carolina Central because this is Swag Talk, so I've talked about JSU games 12 times all season. So we cover JSU through the up, not even down, but the ups and kind of ups and whatever. We didn't broke it down, separated segment, and put it back together multiple times. So let's talk about the Eagles, man. This team was a very good team this season, man. I think they took that next step from last season to this season. And it worked out for them. Coach Trey Oliver, he got swag roots. He spent some time in the swag at Southern, so he familiar with working through the swag and all of that. And it's gonna be a physical game, man. Central definitely gonna get out after it. Davius Richard, quarterback, is a guy that's definitely gonna be a problem. So he can be a game changer. But let's run through the Eagles season, man. They opened up their season with a big rivalry victory over North Carolina A&T, 28-13. They beat Winston-Salem 41-0. The next week they beat New Hampshire on the road. Big victory there, 45-27. They came home and beat Virginia Lynchburg 59-14. They lost to Campbell 48-18 in a game that they never really were in. Morgan State got thumped by the Eagles, 59-20. They lost a surprising game at this point because South Carolina State had not been playing good most of the season, but they lost at South Carolina State 26-24. They rebounded to beat Delaware State 28-21. They beat Howard 50-21. They beat Norfolk State 48-14, and they finished their season with a 22-20 victory over Tennessee Tech on the road. So, a couple of nice out-of-conference victories. Played really well. So came up short in a couple games, but basically, was fairly dominant in their wins. Looking statistically, this team is. I'm just gonna tell you right now that they pretty much are the top team in the MEAC in pretty much every category offensively. They get it done in all aspects. They score the ball well. They don't give up very many points. They run it well. They run it well. They throw it fairly well. Um, they're a very, very solid team. They average 38 points a game, 38.4. Um, they give up 20.4. Both of those numbers lead the MEAC. They are first in total offense at 442 yards per game. They have 55 touchdowns on the season and average 6.7 yards per play. That's a full yard per play more than the second place team. They average almost 70. Let's see, they average about 70 yards more than the second place team, and they have 14 more touchdowns than the second place team. So this team is almost head and shoulders above the next team. It's amazing that they did drop that South Carolina State game. Defensively, they're second in total defense and 5.3 yards per play. They lead the league in rushing offense at 204 yards per game, 30 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry. They are third in the league in rushing at 135 yards per game. They've given up 13 touchdowns and they allow 4.3 yards per play. They lead the league in passing offense at 237 yards per game. They completed 62% of their passes. They're 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 2,611 yards. Defensively, they're third in passing defense at 190 yards. They allow 15 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Opponents completed 56% of their passes, and they have 2,098 yards through the air. They've allowed 17 sacks on the season as an offense that's third in the league. Was really tied for second. The defense does not get a lot of sacks. They have registered 18 sacks on the season. Now, sacks don't necessarily equate a great defense, but being able to get home with that pressure definitely changes things. And if you can pressure the quarterback, and hit him, and just throw off his time, and that's just as good. But you can get a guy on the ground when you back there, then you definitely putting teams back behind the chains. So they are fifth in the league with 18 sacks, so they don't really generate a lot of pressure in that aspect. And they're third in the league in interceptions with 11. First downs, they lead the league at 22.6 first downs per game, and the opponents average 18.7, which is fourth in the league. They lead the league in third down offense. They convert 57% of their third downs. That's tremendous. You're not really gonna stop them on third down. They definitely can convert the majority of the time. Almost 6 out of 10 times, they will convert. Third down defense, they're fourth at 38.2%. So not bad numbers, but you got a couple teams that are in the low 30s ahead of them. So that kind of pushed them down a little bit. Fourth down conversions, they are 70%, 7 of 10. Those 10 fourth down attempts are the least in the league, so they haven't really attempted a lot of fourth downs. But when you convert almost 60% of your third downs, you're rarely going to need a fourth down. And they're first in the league in fourth down defense, allowing 33% conversion rate, 7 of 21. Penalties, this team is not that highly penalized. They have 65 penalties on the season, 651 yards. They average about 59 yards per game in penalties. The opponents, they average 52 yards per game in penalties, 66 penalties for 573 yards. That's the lowest amount of yards for an opponent in penalties, and they have the second least amount of yards as a team in penalties. They lead the league in red zone offense, 47 of 54 for 87%. They have 37 red zone touchdowns, 24 on the ground, 13 in the air, 10 of 12 on field goals. and they have 1 fumble and 4 interceptions. So they've turned the ball over 5 times in the red zone. They, like I said, they more often than not they score in the red zone. So they don't really have a lot of issues there. Red zone defense, they're solid, 64%, 22 or 34. They've given them 19 touchdowns, 10 rushing, 9 passing. Opponents are 3 or 3 on field goals, no fumbles, 5 interceptions, and 6 turnovers on downs. So technically, that's 11 turnovers in the red zone, because getting a stop on 4th down is basically a turnover. So they're they're very good on defense. They don't put up spectacular numbers, but they put up good numbers. This is a defense that will be top 3, top 4 in the SWAC. If you looked at their numbers with other numbers. So then this is a very good defense, but JSU's faced some good defenses already and had their way. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game shapes up. Their leading rusher on the season is Latrell Collier, 881 yards on 159 carries, averages 5.5 yards per carry, has 8 touchdowns with a long of 60. Davius Richard, the quarterback, 108 carries, 691 yards. He's averaging 6.4 yards per carry and 13 touchdowns. He has a 66-yard run, so he definitely can get the explosive plays. And he, is a guy that's going to punch it in the end zone more often than not. Jamari Taylor has 82 carries for 377 yards and 6 touchdowns. He averages 4.6 yards per carry. And Chris Mosley, 7.6 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns. Like I said, through the air, Richard is 184 of 291. 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 2,486 yards, completing 63% of his passes, and has a long of 81 yards. The leading receiver on the team right now is Devin Smith with 35 catches for 496 yards and 6 touchdowns. He averages 14.6 yards per catch. Right behind him is E.J. Hicks with 30 catches for 529 yards and 7 touchdowns. He has the 81-yard catch from Richard. He averaging 17.6 yards per catch. Collier is third out of the backfield with 27 catches for 222 yards and a touchdown. So they will throw to the back. Jaquan Davis, 25 catches, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns. Andrew Smith, 21 catches, 302 yards, and 1 touchdown. Tyler Barnes has 12 catches for 143 yards, no touchdowns. He's averaging 11 yards per catch. And Quentin McCall has 15 catches for 305 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 20 yards per catch. So that's a guy that, seems to be a deep threat for them from time to time. So you definitely want to know where he's at. Manny Smith leads the team in tackles with 55. Max Urine with 52. Khalil Baker with 51. Ja'Kai Brevard with 44. Tackles for loss, Brevard has 9.5. Warrior, Kobe Warrior with 6.5. Sacks, Brevard with 3. Mansfield, 2.5. Interceptions, Baker leads the team with 4. So he's definitely a guy that's gonna be you need to know where he's at. Guys, with multiple interceptions like that, you need to know where they're at all times, because you put the ball up, they will take it down. Special teams, their return game is not that great. They haven't really broken anything, but they're pretty solid on kick coverage. So they're not allowing too much hidden yardage in any way, shape, or form. Looking at Jackson State, like I said before, JSU is number 1 in most categories. They lead the league in scoring offense at 38 points per game, scoring defense at 11.3 points per game. They lead the league in total offense at 447 yards per game. They average 6.1 yards per play. They have 54 touchdowns. Defensively, they lead the league in total defense with 233 yards. They've only allowed 15 touchdowns on the season, and they allow an average of 3.7 yards per play. JSU is 7th in rushing offense at 154 yards. 16 touchdowns, 4.5 yards per carry. They lead the league in rushing defense, 103 yards per game. They've allowed 8 touchdowns and 2.9 yards per carry. They lead the league in passing offense, 293 yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, completing 69% of their passes. Defensively, they lead the league in passing defense, 129 yards, 7 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 42% completion rate. It's tough to do anything against this defense. JSU is third in the league, allowing 21 sacks. They lead the league with 47 sacks. So you have if you look at the line battle, you have a North Carolina Central offensive line that doesn't give up a lot of sacks against a JSU defense as a whole that goes sack crazy. They average almost 4 sacks a game. And then you look at Jackson State offensive line that hasn't given up very many sacks this season against a Central defense that hasn't registered very many sacks. So the winner of this line of scrimmage battle, obviously in a game like this, is definitely probably going to win this game. It's going to be a physical upfront battle. Both Central's going to run the ball. They got a big quarterback that can run the ball and sling it around. JSU has backs that can run, so the run battle is going to be important. JSU defense is very tough against the run, so a lot of the things that Central may want to do, they're going to have to try to find a way to be creative with their offense. Jackson State leads the league in first downs with 23.9. They also lead the league in first down allowed with 13.3. They're third in the league in third down conversions at 41%. They lead the league in third down defense at 25%. That's another interesting matchup, man. You got an offense that's at 57% on third downs against a defense that's 25. The key in this game is for Central to stay on the field. JSU more often than not is gonna force you to come off the field. So they need to sustain drives as best as they can and keep themselves ahead of the chains, which is tough against the Jackson State defense. JSU is 10th in the league in fourth downs, 9 of 25. Those 25 fourth downs are the third most attempts in the league. That's 36%. They are fifth in the league in fourth down defense at 12 or 32 for 37%. The opponents have the second most fourth down attempts. And, JSU is not scared to go for it. They're not scared to go for 2. So if they start to build a lead, you can see them attempt a 2-point conversion here or there and stretch their lead out. So Central needs to keep this game close because I think their offense is explosive, but I don't think they are as explosive as JSU can be. So it's important for Central to keep this game within striking distance. The rushing attack with JSU is led by Savion Wilkerson, 1,099 yards on the season, 5.2 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns. Santee Marshall, 372 yards on 6.4 yards per carry and 1 touchdown. Shador Sanders, 174, 2.3 yards per carry with 5 touchdowns. J.D. Martin, 156 yards on 4.5 yards per carry and 1 touchdown. Wilkerson is a guy that can, he can extend drives for you. Can, salt out the game. He can hit the big play. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He's gonna be a tough guy to keep eyes on because you have to keep account of the JSU passing game. If you don't rush under control and you leave an opening, Shadura get out of the pocket and get what he can get and get down. So he's gonna pick up a couple first downs here and there on third down scrambles, or if you let him out, if you let the backside open, he's gone. So that running attack for JSU is, I don't want to say it's underrated because nothing on this team is underrated, but it doesn't get the attention that the passing game gets. The passing game, Shador is 314 of 448. He has 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, 70% completion rate, 3,403 yards. And when he goes to the air, man, he has 12 guys with double-digit catches. And that's just crazy for one team to have that many guys with double-digit catches. Dallas Daniels, 60 catches for 666 yards and 6 touchdowns. Uh, that's a lot of sixes. Shane Hooks, 59 catches, 705 yards, 10 touchdowns. You have DJ Stevens with 34 catches for 333 yards and 3 touchdowns. Willie Gaines, 27 catches, 446 yards and 5 touchdowns. Kevin Coleman, 23 catches, 318 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rico Powers, 22 catches, 204 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wilkerson, 19 catches, 152 yards and a touchdown. Hunter, 14 catches, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. J.D. Martin, 14 catches, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. Defensively, this defense is crazy, man. Aubrey Miller leads the defense with 81 tackles. Silman Craig, 60. Jarente Davis, 52. Hobson, 46 tackles for loss. Justin Reagan has 15. Niles Gaddy, 11. Jeremiah Brown, 9. Aubrey Miller, 7.5. Reagan leads the defense with 9 sacks. Gaddy, 7. Brown, 6. Hobson, 4 interceptions. Silman Craig, Hunter, and Beasley all have 2 interceptions. And, like I said, this defense, I call it an eraser because, it doesn't matter necessarily what JSU does. This defense is always there to kind of bail them out, get the ball back for them almost right away until the offense gets on track. Sometimes this team can start slow on offense. So, if there's any situation that's going to keep Central in this game is if JSU gets off to a slow start offensively. There's a lot going on. Last week, the week before last, this team, handled those distractions. This is another set of distractions. If they can focus on, finishing the job, then I don't think they're going to have a whole lot of problems. And that's not to disrespect Central, but when JSU is playing at their best, it's tough for anybody to beat them. So for Central, I think they really need to get off to a quick start. And you get a lead, definitely try to build on it, but, maybe you can get JSU off balance early, hit a few big plays early and see where you go. But if JSU comes out hot, I don't think Central can go point for point with them. Now, their offense can score. Like I said, their offense can score. They score over 30. I think they score like 38 points a game. So they can score. But I think that with JSU defense, it's going to be tough to get in any type of shootout. So, you really need to keep this game within striking distance. And I think the game is going to be fairly close. I think JSU will score a late touchdown to make the margin what I predict. I think the spread is 15 or 16. So, that's, 2 touchdowns. I'm in that range, but I'm thinking like 13, 30 to 17. I think the score would probably be like a touchdown game late, and JSU get a touchdown late to make the margin be what it is. I think it's going to be a physical game, man. I think you're going to have to bring your lunch pail and your hard hat and come ready. I think Central's going to be fired up. JSU going to be ready to play. But I think Central, they have a lot to prove. They aren't getting a lot of shine in this game, although nobody's really getting a lot of shine in this game, surprisingly, because of all the news that's been going on. So whoever can, obviously handle all of this and stay focused and make the plays when they're there is going to be the team that wins. And like I said, I think JSU going to win it. SWAC needs a victory in this game. So I'm always going to run SWAC typically in these games unless the matchup is just that lopsided. But definitely going SWAC here. I think JSU finishes the deal at 13-0, and then they exit the Coach Prime era and they move on to the TC Taylor era. And as you know, TC Taylor was announced as the 22nd head coach at Jackson State. Basically today, he'll take over the program starting after the Celebration Bowl, and he'll be formally introduced in January. If you don't know, TC Taylor is a former JSU player, played quarterback and wide receiver. He coached at JSU since 2019. So he's been around the program. Yes, he got demoted from offensive coordinator last season, but they went through a couple guys at that spot to find what they needed to get them, get them through. So I don't necessarily think that's an indictment of who he is, because if you think this guy's not a good offense coordinator because the offense, while the offense was not bad last season, they just were not consistent, and they started slow so many times. He was a really good coordinator at North Carolina Central, so he can get the job done. I've heard a few people say, he got demoted, so that I mean, that as a first, they live a brand new team. A lot of guys, that playing together. The offense just didn't gel right away. So this. I mean, obviously he had something because they didn't let him go. So he did what he needed to do, and now he's at the head of the program. So we're gonna kind of look at his journey to this time. Like I said, he came to Jackson State as a quarterback. Play, didn't really get a lot of shine there, but he moved to wide receiver because they brought in Robert Kent at quarterback, and that kid was the guy that could sling the ball all over the place. But they wanted to get Taylor on the field, put him at wide receiver. In 19 games at wide receiver, he caught 188 catches for 1,793 yards. So he was definitely a very productive guy. His senior year, he broke the JSU single season record with 84 catches for 1,234 yards and 11 touchdowns. He was a third-team All-American and a first-team Black College All-American. He was the runner-up for the Connerly Trophy, which is the top player in Mississippi. Eli Manning won that award. He had a stint in the NFL as a rookie free agent with the New England Patriots in 2002. He played in the NFL Europe for the Frankfurt Galaxy and won the world and played in the World Bowl. And then he participated in the 2003 preseason with the Lions before injuries kind of ruined his career. So from that time, he kind of got into coaching. 2005, he started working at Coahoma Community College in Clarksdale, Mississippi. He served there as the quarterback coach and wide receiver coach, and then until 2011, which was his last year there. The last 6 years at Coahoma, he spent that time as an offensive coordinator. So he was there from 2005 to 2011. While he was there, his offense is ranked in the top 5 in Mississippi Junior College in total yards for 4 straight years from 2007 to 2010. And, if you know anything about Mississippi and JUCOs, that's some serious football. So seeing, and especially with a team like that, seeing what his offenses was able to do is definitely a testament. He left from Coahoma and he went to Texas Southern from 2012 to 2013, and he was the wide receiver coach and the recruiting coordinator at TSU. He left TSU and got a promotion. Ended up as the offensive coordinator at North Carolina Central. So he coached quarterbacks and was the offensive coordinator at North Carolina Central. He helped guide the Eagles to 3 MEAC championships: 2014, 2015, 2016. He went unbeaten in conference play in 2016, and they qualified for the Celebration Bowl, which they lost to Grambling on a celebration penalty. But in 2016, under his guidance, the offense set a record for total offense in a single season with 4,614 yards. Also in 2014, his unit set a program record for passes completed with 227. From 2014 to 2018, TC Taylor coached 28 all MEAC offensive players and 5 All-Americans. In 2016, under his tutelage, Malcolm Bell was a finalist for the 2016 Black College Football Player of the Year award. He also was a 3-time All-MEAC quarterback in 2014, 15, and 16. And he set the program record for total offense, 7,844 yards, and career completion percentage, 56.6. And he was second in passing yards at 6,340. and he left from North Carolina Central and went to JSU in 2019, and he worked there under Coach Hendricks, and then he was retained by Coach Prime, and like I said, he was the OC for a minute. Then he was put in a different spot, but he was a vital place on this piece of this team. He recruits well. He's young, he's hungry, and I know a lot of people. This is not the sexy name. Everybody was throwing out all that, all these NFL guys and whatever. But I feel like a guy like this that definitely has worked his way up the ladder. That's what everybody wants, a young coach to take over. Yes, it's not. Yes, it's not like when you go from prime to anybody, the chasm is gonna be wide in terms of personality and the whole nine. But this guy, I know, is gonna sell it out for JSU. He's gonna do everything that it could take because he understands JSU. He lives it, he breathes it, he loves it. So he's gonna, he understands what makes it all tick. So I think you're gonna get his best effort all the time. It's definitely gonna be important to see how his staff come together. He did get a quarterback today, Philip Short from Holmes Community College. So that's one of the top JUCO quarterbacks in the country. So he already made one move, and he's been recruiting hard in these last few days. So I don't think the drop off in terms of a lot of the aspects are going to be huge. Obviously, that prime effect is not necessarily going to be there anymore. But you still have guys that are going to be hungry. This helps probably keep some of those guys around who may have went into the portal if they had so much uncertainty at coach. It keeps you on the recruiting trail with signing day next Wednesday. So that keeps you some continuity. Now you can kind of figure out some things and you're not having to scramble. But, with the portal being the way it is, that's a good tool for, a new coaching regime to kind of fill the gaps and, and do that kind of plug and play type of thing to help you bridge the gap till, your freshmen start to get ready. So I think this is a good hire, man. Like I said, I'm not gonna say it's an A plus or nothing like that because you can't really grade a hire until you see the guy actually in action, and how the program is run. But I think this is a good hire. I think it was the right move. That was a name that I mentioned a couple of times on Swag Smoke as who I thought should be the guy. Because I'm not anti celebrity coach, but I feel like just grabbing any guy because he played in the NFL and was really good doesn't equate a great coach. So I think you shouldn't always want that to be your answer for every opening that comes up. Because as a Black institution, you still should want to reward and help young, hungry coaches move up the ladder. Now, this is not a charity case. I'm not saying that you automatically give a guy a job because he's a young Black coach and that's the right thing to do. But if he fits the bill, then yes, give him a shot. I mean, I just feel like don't rob yourself of these guys because they're not getting the opportunity nowhere else. So I think this is a great move, and like I said, we'll keep our eyes on what happens with this in the future and how the team is run. But right now, it's moving pretty smoothly. And speaking of more coaching news, Pine Bluff revealed their top 3 finalists for the job, or at least it was reported the top 3 finalists for this job. And this is a diverse group of people, man. All good coaches, which I think is definitely a good thing. And it seems like looking at this list, they approaching things from a different way. 2 guys have Arkansas ties. Coach Barry is a guy that did just come from a program that was struggling when he got there, and now he's got them on top. So I think he understands what it takes to build a team. I think you're getting a guy. If you get a guy like Berry, you understand that he's gonna be a guy that works. He's gonna come in and he's gonna run a physical offense. It's all starts on the line. He's an offensive line coach. He's been there and done that. He's familiar with the SWAC because he coached at Southern under Coach Odoms. But man, before I get too far into Coach Berry, well, I guess I'll continue with him since I'm already talking about him. This is the guy I would love to see at Pine Bluff. I've been saying that since the job came open. So, I mean, if you want me to put my vote in the hat, it's Coach Berry. He took over at Benedict in 2020. They did not have a season because of COVID, but in 2019 they went 1-9. His first year at Benedict, they went 5-5. So that's a 4-game improvement right out the gate. And then this season they were 11-1, basically undefeated in the regular season. They lost in the playoffs. They blew out Tuskegee in the SIAC championship 58-21 before they lost to Wingate in the playoffs. This team was very good defensively, didn't give up a lot of points, scored, a decent amount of points. They were, a team that was very tough, man. You had a hard time against them. He coached, like I said, he coached at Southern. He was the OC and offensive line coach at Southern. So he's the guy that, is familiar with the conference. And, he loves to run the football. He was at Southern, his last year at Southern, they led the league in rushing. And they were a very, very physical team on the ground. So I think, this is a guy that can fit, what Pine Bluff is probably looking for. He understands building the team back up because Pine Bluff as a team has just not been good historically. So, it's going to take some work. You're going to have to get out there and, pound the pavement and build. This is a hard job. The next guy is Joseph Henry, and he's at FAMU right now. This was his first season as offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. So again, another guy with offensive line ties. I think that helps a lot. He coached at FAMU this season. Before that, he worked with the offensive line at LSU, Arkansas, and Missouri. Prior to that, he was with Willie Simmons in 2015 to 2018 at both Prairie View and FAMU. He coached a variety of roles on offense and special teams. And the report is that yesterday that Coach Henry was on campus at Pine Bluff. So, obviously if he's there, he's definitely, getting another chance, another talk or another opportunity to wow them, visit the team, visit the facilities and the whole nine. So, that's a definitely good move if you're looking for him. The next name is kind of an outside of the box name. Surprising for me to see his name come up. And that's Kevin Kelly, who is a former notorious Arkansas high school coach. He coached at Pulaski Academy in Little Rock. If you know this guy or you know that team, his time there, they rarely punted the ball. That was his claim to fame, that he was the coach who never punted. They went for it on fourth downs all over the field. They won 9 state championships in 18 years at his time now. So he's a guy that has won on that level. He's from, he coached in Arkansas. He knows the area. He knows, all of that. So he has Arkansas ties. He was coaching at Presbyterian since 2021, and that program did not do well. They were 2-9 in his first year. So they didn't win a lot of games. They were 1-10 this season. So, if you're looking at a translation from high school to college, that may not be the best first step. But, Presbyterian is a tough place to coach. So, that's that's a team that, doesn't really have a lot going on. So that's a tough opportunity to take. But, you throw your name in the hat for a first time, hey, that's what happens. But if you look at his ties at Arkansas, that can help. One thing is, and this is not a positive, not a negative. But it's an elephant in the room. Two of these three coaches are white, so that that's an outside the box thinking type of deal. That lets everybody know that this position is open. They're willing to look under every stone to find the right guy. So I think that's I think that's a look to look outside. But I think Coach Barry is the guy that you go with. I just feel like he's the more proven head coach at putting together a program at a place that hasn't been winning. If you look at it, he's been there for basically 2 seasons, maybe 3 if you count the 2020 season. But he's won. He had a 500 record his first year, and the next year he was 11-1. So I don't know if they can get him away from Benedict, but I definitely think you make him say no, because to me that's the guy. But both the other two coaches, they've been around and they have a track record as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what Pine Bluff does. And this is I don't want to make this seem dramatic, but this is a very important hire for Pine Bluff, because I think this program is, I don't want to say they're teetering on the brink, but they need success. Now, I'm not necessarily saying, 7, 8 wins, but they need to be in that 5, 6 win, range more often than not, because the more you lose, the further behind you fall to everybody else. And when you look at Pine Bluff, 2006 SWAC championship, started to fall off the cliff. 2012 SWAC championship, it fell off the cliff till 2018. 2019 6-5. Springs 2021 SWAC championship berth. 2021 fall. 2022 off the side of the cliff. So this program needs consistency year in and year out, and you need a guy that's going to be able to do that. And this is a tough job, so it's not for the faint of heart. But if you can get things turned, if you can get things going, which Coach Thomas was doing before he left, it can be done. So you just have to, kind of try to find a way to right the ship. When you fire a coach after 23 games, that you're having problems. So they need to get this hire right. And I think these are the three guys. I think any one of them could help. And we'll be interested to see how these all turn out. So that's going to do it for today's show. Like I said, catch me on SWAC Talk on Thursday. On SWAC Smoke on Thursday, live 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, we'll be back to recap the SWAC championship game and probably continue some more of our SWAC recaps. And from then on, we'll be leading up to recruiting and everything. So make sure y'all continue to tune in to SWAC Talk, and I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.